Hello, good evening, good morning, good afternoon, everyone, subject to wherever you're joining us from around the globe. Thanks ever so much for your time and your attendance to this webinar on the Portuguese Golden Visa program, and in particularly on the best piece of real estate to enter this program, pretty much since I've been involved in it. So it's really, really exciting. We can cover off some technical aspects about the scheme itself. There's obviously going to be some questions about that. But the main focus is on the particular piece of real estate that Mercan, the largest developer in the programme, has presented for us. So without further ado, my name's Mark Swan. I'm only hosting this. The experts are beside me, and that is Sylvia, the lawyer, with the specialist immigration law firm that is working with us, and also Karina, who is the representative from Mercan. So in terms of an agenda, we're going to have the presentation first, and then at the end, we will, of course, use the Q&A facility to allow everyone to ask the questions that they want to ask, and hopefully we'll be able to answer everything. In terms of duration, obviously it's subject to questions, but we predict it'll be somewhere between 35 and 40 minutes. So thanks again for your time and your attention, and I will now hand over to Karina. Thanks, Karina.
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Mark. Thank you, Alborn. And will be a pleasure talking about Portugal Golden Visa under the Mercan projects. Okay, as Mark mentioned, I'm based here in the UAE, responsible for the Golden Visa program under the Mercan project. So who are we? Mercan, we are originally from Canada. We were founded in 1989. Always connected with the immigration programs. Our offices are distributed all around the world. We did the Canadian program. We did EB5 program. With all this knowledge and all this citizenship programs, of course, never forgetting our immigration programs in terms of manpower and scholarship, also that we did. But mainly I would like to highlight what we did in the US. With the EB5 program, we built 38 hotels in the US, okay? I would need to pass to the next slide, please. Yes, exactly. So here are the 38 projects that we did in the US under the EB5 program that I'm sure that everybody is very familiar with. And then end of 2015-16, we decided to replicate our knowledge on the immigration programs adapted to the Portuguese Golden Visa. And there we are in Portugal. In Portugal, we have our main office in Porto. I would need to change the next slide. Exactly. Okay, so our investment already in Portugal with almost 30 projects, which of them 8 are already operational hotels. We have an investment of 1 billion and 17 euros, and with more than 3,000 investors. As I mentioned, our headquarters are in Porto. We have a branch in Lisbon and supporting services in Faro, so where the majority of our projects are located. For all of this to happen, we have 2 companies working, being our partners and working with us. One of them is IAS, International Atlantic Service, that is a legal firm that supports our investors towards the Golden Visa program. And we have ACE Hospitality, that is the company that manage our hotels for the operation. Okay? So Portugal, as we all know, is completely turned to tourism. We have a strategic location. We have a lovely weather. We are a very peaceful country, and more turns out to Portugal being the destination in terms of holidays, in terms of trips of different kinds. We've been awarded with a lot different tourism important recognitions, being, for example, as we have here, Porto the best destination in Europe, long breaks, long weekends in terms of beach destination being the Algarve. And you will see that all our projects are in these specific regions. In terms of tourism, Portugal changes to finalize this, recover the numbers of pre-COVID quite fast after the opening again for the tourism. So an increase of more than 17% in terms of the occupancy rates and the tourism rates. So Portugal Golden Visa, and maybe sometimes you would ask, why Portugal? Why investing in Portugal? Why Portugal for a citizenship program? As we all know and already mentioned a little bit before, we are a very peaceful country, strategically located in Europe with a lovely weather, having the sixth best passport in the world. Our healthcare is excellent. Our public healthcare. In terms of political, we are very stable. In terms of education, also we have the free education in the public schools. So a very attractive country, not being Portuguese, but the facts are there. Again, in terms of Golden Visa itself, what entitles the investors is exactly what was mentioned here, and more being able to live, study and work in Portugal. This Golden Visa, this resident permit will allow them to that, will allow them also to have the education for their kids, being able to travel across Schengen area with the Portugal Golden Visa. There's no taxes on the world income, okay? And of course, being able to apply for the visas for other countries, being Golden Visa holder. Okay, again, as we mentioned, live, work, and study in Europe and especially in Portugal. As we all know, being a European citizen, again, talking about a very powerful passport, the health care, being able to vote, safe and food standards, and all of this already mentioned great valuable rights that we have being a European and Portuguese citizen. Okay, so this 1 billion investment in Portugal generates the projects that you are seeing here. We are talking about 8 of them being already operational, fully operational, being opened recently, the last 2, Renaissance, the Marriott Renaissance in Porto and Hilton Garden Inn in Lapa. All the other hotels are in different stages of development. I will be going to detail to the available projects at the moment, okay, because all the others are already fully subscribed, completely sold out. But for now, I would let you with Sylvia, that represents IAS, as I mentioned, the legal firm that works exclusively for our investors, and she will guide you through the full process in terms of the Golden Visa. Thank you, Sylvia.
Thank you, Karina. So hello, and thank you all, Born, for inviting me to be here today. So as previously mentioned by Karina, my name is Sylvia Leotério, and I'm a lawyer at IAS International Atlantic Services. I'm specialized in immigration and real estate law. So about International Atlantic Services, we are a consultancy company that were incorporated in 2017, and whose mission is to provide a full service to our clients throughout the entire Golden Visa process until either you acquire the Portuguese citizenship or the Portuguese permanent residency. And also we will help you on that if you would like us to do so. So during the past years, we were able to set a remarkable standard in Golden Visa processing, And as Golden Visa specialists, we do not only provide legal services, but we also have translation services that are provided by our paralegal team. And in fact, those translations, once they are in certain languages, are included in our legal fees. And we also provide hosting services to our clients every time that they come to Portugal. So we have in-house lawyers and paralegals, but we also have partnership with other lawyers and other paralegals. We are a team of bilingual lawyers, and so we can support our clients in English, Spanish, French, Chinese, and Russian. So we believe that excellence in the provision of our services, together with a reliable network of contacts worldwide, are the key to supporting any citizen that wants to join the Portuguese Golden Visa program. So where we are, our head of office is in Porto, which is where I'm based. But we also have another office in Lisbon. And we have partnerships all over the world, such as in Canada, China, India, Russia, Vietnam, USA, that allow us to fully accompany our clients and to give them the right legal services. So we are composed by 17 lawyers and 10 paralegals. But what do we do exactly? So, as mentioned before, we accompany the clients in all the process. But what we do, we draft all the legal documents, namely the POAs and everything, so that we can start working with you. We apply for the Portuguese taxpayer number. We open the bank account on the client's behalf. The client doesn't need to come to Portugal to do that. And we do all the contact between the bank managers and the client. Naturally, we also provide the contacts to the clients so that they can talk directly to them. But we are there to support the clients every day. We also sign the public deed on the client's behalf, meaning that the client doesn't need to come to Portugal, and we do all the related payments and costs associated. We do the registry of the ownership of the real estate in the tax authorities and in the land registry. We do, because as I mentioned before, we have a translation team. So we do all the translation to the documents freely. This is included in our legal fees from all the documents that are issued in English, Spanish, or French. If they are issued in any other language, we also can provide the translation, but we will charge extra legal fees for that. We do the certification of all the required documents, because being lawyers, we are able to certify those kinds of documents. In Portugal, you don't need to go to a notary for that. We do the submission of the immigration application. We schedule the biometrics on your behalf, and we do a full support on the biometrics. Namely, we have, as mentioned before, hosting services. So whenever the client comes to Portugal, and especially for the biometrics, they will have a pickup at the airport. They will have someone to guide them to the hotel. And naturally, hosting will also help the clients to book their stay here in Portugal. After the biometrics, we will do a follow-up until the final approval. And once the final approval is issued, we will do the payment of the residency card on the client's behalf. Then we collect the card and we will courier it to any location in the world. After that, we will continue to follow up during the validity of the card, and then we will help you on the renewals. And then in the end, if you want, we will continue to support you during the permanent residency or citizenship. One other thing that is important to mention is that we have a partnership with a Portuguese teacher that can give you online classes. She's very used to work with Golden Visa clients, and so she's very used to prepare the clients for the Portuguese test that is required both for citizenship and permanent residency. It's also important to mention that this exam has no validity, so you can start right away to learn Portuguese and to do the exam. You don't need to wait until year 5 to do it. Regarding the Golden Visa program, Karina already mentioned a bit of that, but we work mainly with the real estate rehabilitation category. And in this case, we have two options. We have the 350K and we have the 280K. On the 350, both of these buildings need to be over 30 years old or located in areas of rehabilitation. But the reason for the difference of this price is that the ones that are 280 are outside urban areas and the other ones are inside urban areas. It's important to mention that despite the alteration of the law that finished the possibility of investment in major cities, it was only for housing purposes, so it is not applicable for this kind of investment. So, but what are the advantages that you have if you go with the Golden Visa? So you will have free access to Portuguese healthcare and education. You will not have a need to have a language or academic credentials required. You will need to prove that you know to speak Portuguese, but that's for citizenship or permanent residency, not for Golden Visa, because Golden Visa is a temporary residency and you don't need to prove language skills there. This is a fast and simple process. You will be free to travel within the Schengen area. Travel, not live. You can only live in the Schengen area and not Portugal once you are a Portuguese citizenship. There will be no tax charge on worldwide income according to our law. Once you become a Portuguese citizenship, as mentioned, and if that's your goal, you will have benefits such as being able to live, to work, to study in Portugal or in any other country of the Schengen area. And what are the requirements for you to be eligible for the Golden Visa? You only need to be over 18 years old. And what's important to mention here is that I'm talking about the main investor. Naturally, that you can bring your family with you, and this age limit is not applicable, naturally, because you can bring your kids with you. You will need to maintain your investment for 5 years. You need to have a valid passport. There is no management experience needed, and you need to comply with the mandatory days in Portugal, which are 7 days per year. With only 7 days per year, you are considered Portuguese resident, and after 5 years of residency, which Golden Visa grants you, you can apply for citizenship or permanent residence. Now, just to give you a brief idea of the steps that we have during the process, we have what we call the -1 year, on which the process starts, and that's what I've been briefly talked to. So you need to sign the contract with us, namely the legal service agreements, and sign all the POAs. Then we will obtain your Portuguese taxpayer number and open a bank account on your behalf, and then you can start the transferring of funds. We have something new here because right now Mercan is accepting the direct transfer from abroad to their bank account. So, and we have checked with the bank and the immigration authorities, and that's possible because it will be the developer's bank account, to issue the bank declaration, which is the mandatory document for SEF, for the immigration department. So you don't need to have a Portuguese bank account to proceed with the process, but naturally we will open a bank account on your behalf anyways, because it's better for you to have a bank account in Portugal to do all the other payments that you need. And if you want to relocate, that's always a good thing. So then after we transfer the funds, we enter the public deed, and we will submit all the civil documents, and that's when we consider that it was initiated, the Golden Visa process. After that, you will be pre-approved and notified for the biometrics. Once you have the final approval, which will take place in around 6 to 8 months after the biometrics, that's when the time starts to count. So that's when you need to start to comply with the mandatory days in Portugal, and that's when the 5 years will count for either permanent residency or citizenship. So the cards are now being issued for 2 years. So in the year 2, you will need to renew again. We have here something new too, because usually the clients need to come to Portugal for this renewal. But right now we are having the experience of the online renewals. We don't know if that's something to keep, but we hope so, because it's much faster and the clients doesn't need to come again to Portugal for the renewals. So then you will have another card, and after 2 years you will have another one valid for 2 years. And in the year 5, you can also either apply for citizenship or permanent residence. In terms of the workflow, so you have the onboarding, which is the first stage where you are considered our client and you are inserted in our platforms. Then you'll have a team of lawyers that will support you during the entire process, a back-off team of paralegals and translators. Then you will still have the relation with investors relation from Mercer. And as I mentioned before, we will provide you hosting services, and we will give you the contact of a Portuguese teacher that will help you to learn Portuguese. In terms of numbers, so right now we have more than 3,000 clients. We have more than 93 nationalities. From the beginning of the year until now, we have executed 685 leads. We have requested more than 1,900 Portuguese taxpayers' numbers, and we have opened more than 663 bank accounts. And after all of that, why should you choose to work with us? Because we are we have competitive legal fees that offer a wide number of services, including, as mentioned, free translation and hosting services. We are very experienced in this area, and we are also very used to work with Mercer. We are a one-stop shop where the investors have answers to all the stages of their golden visa. We have close relationships with banks. We have an online platform that is designed for golden visa clients. We have knowledgeable and experienced personnel. We have, as you can see, on-site representations, roadshows, as well as regular webinars. We have partnerships with the top market players in tax, accounting, and banking matters. And we can communicate with our clients in Chinese, English, French, Spanish, Russian, and Vietnamese is also available. We have local office in the biggest cities of Portugal, but we also have partnerships with lawyers in several locations in the globe. So thank you so much, and I will pass it back to Karina.
Thank you, Sylvia.
Thank you, Sylvia. So now let's talk a little bit of the projects that we have available to go for all of this that we spoke about for the Portugal Golden Visa. As Sylvia also mentioned, we work just with the rehabilitation category, investment of 350,000 euros in the major cities, coastal areas, or high density, or a 280,000 euros investment required for the low densities, rural areas, or countryside. At the moment, I'm going to briefly just introduce you Hotel Palácio São Luís, because it's a project that we are about to be completely fully subscribed. So although you would intend to go for this 350, I'm not sure that we would have slots available. But soon, Mark will give you the details of the new project that will launch in 1 week or so. Okay. Now, going to Portugal, that is the 280 project available at the moment. This project is located in Portimão, in the Algarve. Will be a beach resort, a 5-star hotel beach resort. Is located, as you can see here on the image, just close to the beach. This main road that we have here has an underground passage that will lead us to the beach club. So this is a project that will have 275 rooms with the different environments, having, as I said, the beach club, the restaurants, the 3 external pools, for example, so different facilities. We are now selling the phase 2. This phase 2 is for co-ownership for a total of 250 investors. As we mentioned, the 280,000 euros investment. We had phase 1, just to let you know, that is completely subscribed. That was for 245 investors, and it was sold out in 3 weeks. We will have later on launching also the another 5-star hotel, because it has 3 different buildings. This will be serviced apartments with individual ownership. Again, in 1 or 2 weeks, we'll have the details of these apartments too. Well, going back to this phase 2, the 280,000 investment co-ownership that you are very used with Merkin. The location, as we mentioned, is in the Algarve, in Portimão. Everybody knows this image, talking about Portugal, the big rocks that we have in the most well-known beaches. In the Algarve, you will have close to the project, the marina, a Praia do Vau, the Vau beach that is just close to the project. That's why it's called Ponte do Vau. Talking about Portimão, there's a lot of different attractions in the area. You have the Vau beach, as I mentioned. We have the international Formula 1 track, the international circuit in the Algarve, that is in Portimão. We have the marina, as I mentioned, a lot of amazing places to have the traditional food from the Algarve. So a lot of different things to spend a very enjoyable holidays. So, as we mentioned, this project has the 3 phases, 2 hotels in co-ownership, and the other one that is in the individual ownership that will be part of the service apartments. Here in the front, as I mentioned before, has the underground passage that will lead us to the beach club. This beach club is oriented, it will be a completely music themed, as I mentioned, branded by a very well-known international hotel chain, and the first one in Portugal, and it will have the possibility of having concerts and different events in this particular beach club. So now we can have a little look how the lobby will look like. As you can see, a lot of music themed, the bar, the restaurants, other facilities, how it will look like the rooms. Now we can see a little bit of one of the outdoor pools. Here the connection between all the different buildings. It will have, again, as we mentioned, all the facilities of a 5-star resort, the spa, the gym, the beach club, all that we are used to have on a facility 5-star resort. Now, in terms of numbers, in terms of features, as I mentioned, the hotel phase 1 for 255 investors is completely or fully subscribed. This phase 2 for the recently launched for the 250 investors with a minimum investment of 280,000 euros, that entitles for this category of the Golden Visa. As all the other projects that we've been launching, we have the IMT and the VAT supported by us. There is a guaranteed buyback at the end after getting the Portuguese citizenship or permanent residency, and again, the free stay in our hotels that complies with the minimum requirement for the permanency to maintain the Golden Visa. This is when we launch the phase 2 during the current month, and the expected completion of the hotel and starting operation is on the fourth quarter of 2025. Okay, now just to brief you on what we've been doing in Portugal and all the hotels that are already operating. As you can see, we are always connected and having the franchise with very well-known international flagged hotels like Intercontinental, Hilton, Marriott, and Wyndham, as are presented here in our already operating hotel. I just highlight Casa da Companhia, that recently was converted in Wctch, is the second boutique hotel in Europe. There's no more, and we were invited by Intercontinental to brand our Casa da Companhia with Wctch. The others, as I say, we have a Tapestry, we have a 4 Points by Sheraton, Wyndham, other operational hotels. These 3 hotels just opened recently. This is a convention center in Porto, a Renaissance by Marriott, another Porto Arts Hotel, and the first opening in Évora that occurred 3 weeks ago, a Hilton Garden Inn. All the other hotels are under construction. As you can see, we have again Marriott being on our with the Tribute portfolio. So all of these hotels, some located in Porto, these 3 are located in Porto, again with different brands. We have here other hotels, the second one in Évora. Then we have 2 hotels in Lagos. The first one is this Marriott Lagos Beach Resort. Our first project in Lisbon is going to be a Marriott, a Moxie. And again, another project in Lagos. With all the success of Lapa 1, the Marriott Renaissance that we just spoke about that started operation, we are having the phase 2, Lapa 2. And also under construction, we have another project in Lisbon, that is Lisboa Skyview, and another hotel in Faro. All of these projects that we are presenting here, even the Holiday Inn in Beja and Ocean View and Riverside Downtown, are completely sold out. So the ones that we have available at the moment is Ponte do Val, the 280 project in the Portimão. And regarding Lisbon, the next project will be launched very soon, and Marco will be able to share with you further details. But again, all the projects have exactly the same features, being a 280 or a 350. Okay, I think it's for me, please. Now, thank you.
Fantastic, thank you, Karina, and thank you, Sylvia, so much. Really appreciate that. Okay, we have the Q&A facility, but at the minute there's no open questions. I'm going to be nice and positive and assume that the presentations were that good that we've answered everyone's questions in advance, which is always nice to see. In terms of the overall scenario, the positioning of this presentation is really timely because we know the overriding pressure right now on the situation is with the pending legislation that we are expecting at some stage to have a final date announced. And for lots of people who are interested in this program, it really just focused the attention on the fact that time is pressing, and to avoid being overly salesy, because that's really important. It's about identifying, is this program something that's really, really important? Do you need it for yourself and your family's futures? If you do, and you can afford it comfortably, then the time to start acting on this is literally today. We are hopeful that we will not be pressured with time, and we will have the required time to get everyone's applications done. But it's common sense to state right now that anybody should start acting on this today to make sure that we've got ample time without rushing, without being under pressure, to make sure the application process is fulfilled professionally and with as little stress as possible. So there's a call to arms there for everyone who's seriously interested. Please, please, please reach out and let's have a look at the process and see if we can make you comfortable enough to begin.